Welcome, welcome, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody but Samantha, or if you want to mute yourself, that would be great. Awesome. Well, so great to see everybody this evening. Um, I'm Iris from Cashmere Goat in Camden, Maine, and I am really excited tonight because we have a special guest on our Zoom. We have Samantha Guerin, who is the designer of our beautiful Grid Gambit, which is our March Knit Along. It's been one that folks have been having just a blast with. It's been a great project. I know some folks are already casting on for their second, which is always such a testament to a fabulous design. So, without further ado, I am going to spotlight Samantha for us. And we are going to have a little bit of, time where I'm going to ask some questions and get the ball rolling, but I'm going to be keeping my eye on the chat and certainly ask any questions as we're going, but we'll definitely have open it up to questions too. I know some folks have already been percolating some questions and maybe do a little show and tell as well. So I'm going to spotlight Samantha. Here she is. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Eris. Thank you so much for introducing me to everyone. Hi, everyone. It is really nice to see you. Thank you for making time to join tonight.
Yeah, so we appreciate your time because we know you're a busy person with a family and with knitting to do, no doubt, and designs in your mind and all of that. But one of the ways I think it's really fun to start is tell us a little bit about when did you start knitting and who taught you? We love to hear a good knitting biography.
Sure, sure. So I definitely come from crafty, artistic family, but there were no knitters in my family. One of my grandmothers enjoyed crocheting, and she, taught me how to, just crochet a long chain, and I never took it much further than that. But when I was in high school, I just got it in my mind that I wanted to learn how to knit. And so I think I went to like a Joann's, and I might have got like a Lion Brand pamphlet that had like some illustrations, and I went home with some yarn, and I just eventually figured it out. I'm sure I was doing plenty of things wrong, and my stitch counts were never the same from row to row. But yeah, I just took it from there. This was before YouTube. This was probably in like early 2000s. Um, and so I didn't have the benefit of like videos to watch, and I didn't know any knitters. I had like asked around at high school. I had like asked friends like, "Do you have a grandma who knits? Like who I could like maybe visit and she could help me?" But I didn't have any luck. And then, I just kind of like kept on learning slowly and on my own until, oh gosh, I think I joined my knitting group like 14 years ago. I was like a young professional. My husband and I were renting an apartment in a city, and someone at work invited me to join their knit group, and I was like over the moon excited because I was finally going to be in person with other knitters. And then I would get to see their projects. And, from there, my growth really started picking up because I could see these things in person and learn new things and just be excited about other people's yarn and the things they were learning. So yeah, I still meet with those friends every Tuesday night. Um, and yeah, so I had a career as a hospitality professional right out of school. I went to culinary school. I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park. And from there, I held several jobs. And then my last job before our daughter was born was like a food service director at a corporate dining set up for an investment bank. And I loved my job, but the hours were very demanding, and I decided to not go back after our daughter was born. And while I was home, I just kind of really I missed work and I missed having that facet of my life that is not tied to parenthood, like, my identity outside of being a parent. And so I think on Ravelry, I found like a budding designers group, and I had found a call in there from Knitpicks. They were looking for submissions for home good designs like pillows and blankets and things. And so I put together a submission for a pillow cover design and sent that to them. And I couldn't believe when they replied, yes, we'd like to have your design and we're going to put it in a book. I was blown away. They were such nice people. And so that's how I got started designing, just with that one submission to Knitpicks. And then, I started doing independent work from there, and just a lot of just in time learning, and a lot of, like, figuring out how to have a website and how to sell patterns on Ravelry, and all those things are just little steps on the path to figuring out how to do this.
That's awesome. Thank you so, so much for that beautiful intro too. And it's always just that interesting pathway towards, what brought you to design. And I'm sure, going from a big corporate type of career and just needing a little bit of something, as much as like being a stay-at-home mom is amazing work, but there's just a little, especially if you've been managing such a high level job, I'm sure your brain was like needed a little something busy else to do.
Yeah.
um Kiddos are great. And when I was just reviewing your bio on your website, I mean, I've followed you as a designer for a while, and I've just love to see the types of sweaters. And I just really appreciated that you spoke specifically to inclusivity in your design, and your commitment to size inclusivity, as well as showcasing, you know, um, just all types of folks in your pattern pictures. I think that's so important. And could you talk a little? I think people, size inclusivity is such a, it's like a hot topic, right? And can you talk a little bit about, I guess, like where that, like how that was, that something that you started with as an ideal, or have you like had your mind sort of changed, or like why is that important to you, I guess?
So I would say that from the start of learning how to grade a garment, how to write a garment pattern for a full range of sizes, there was never a possibility in my mind that I wasn't going to include everyone who I thought might want to knit one of my patterns. I mean, even just from a business owner perspective, why would you want to exclude potential customers? Like, that's bananas. And also, knitters are such a diverse group of people. I mean, you know, we're a big, diverse group. And why wouldn't you want to include everyone and have everybody enjoy your work? So, as someone who is right in the middle of my size range, that almost kind of makes it easier for me to grade a pattern, because I knit my sample of like size 4 or 5 right in the middle, and then I grade a little bit down and I grade a little bit up. And once I figured out where to find the measurements that I would need to reference for each size for different fit points on the body, it really is just math. It's not complicated, and it's something I really enjoy. I As a child, I was told that I was like not very good at math, and I just kind of accepted that. I was like, well, I'm good at other things, so that's fine. And it turns out that I just wasn't doing math that I enjoyed, or doing math that served a purpose to me. And knitting math is exactly that. It gets me where I want to be. So, I do enjoy grading.
I love that. And so did you do any like coursework? Was there any resources that you turned to when you were learning how to do that?
Honestly, no. I wish that there was. Like that would
Mm,
have been a fun and maybe more straightforward path than I took. Um, no, I mean, certainly reading a lot of blogs, standing on the shoulders of lots of people who have learned and shared information ahead of me. It's really just networking with fellow designers, sharing ideas, bouncing things off of each other, and then research of like looking at other schematics online, like what is popular, what are like the fit trends, just things like that. A lot of research.
awesome. Thank you for speaking to that. And we've already had a question in the chat for what is the sweater that you're wearing?
I'll stand up, but I don't know if I'll get cut off, but this is Coffee Run. So this is an all over textured drop shoulder pullover, and it's got an optional folded collar. And yeah, I wear this all the time. This just came out in I want to say January or February, but it's super cozy. It's at a nice drapey gauge. So this is a sport weight yarn held with a lace weight mohair, and I can't recall the gauge right now, but it just opens up beautifully. It breathes. It's comfortable. Yeah, so I've been wearing this a lot.
It looks so super cozy. I love that. Well, yeah, so I'm gonna take you off spotlight, and I wonder if anybody who said they might have a question, because I know what the questions are, and I'm certainly able to ask them myself, but any of you have a question that you would like to ask, I will let the question askers have that chance if you want. Mary, are you gonna ask your question or you want me to?
Nothing like being put on the spot. So the other evening, I finished chart B and I was ready to do chart C. And then I thought, I read it and I said, well, it's kind of late. Maybe I'll wait till tomorrow. And then I looked at it again and I don't see anything different between chart B and chart C. So if there is, can you tell me? Because I'm already going.
They are so C is a continuation of chart B. I split them up because it would have not fit on a page
Okay,
for
good.
me to put, yeah, the same thing is happening in chart C that you did in chart B.
Okay, thank you.
Of
That's
course.
kind of what we surmised a little bit, but we were like, maybe there's some other reason that is more technical, but
No,
Thank you.
of course.
I also wondered, so we've had a couple of folks who are on the like sort of more petite side and have wondered about making it just a little smaller. And so one person who I don't know if she's on the Zoom, her solution was to like remove the last repeat of chart C and the first of chart D, and then just sort of take out that little part. And she said that it worked great. It matched up seam wise, everything was good. But we wondered, do you have any other thoughts or does that make sense to you? I mean, it worked for her, but like conceptually.
Yes, no, that totally works. And I actually have a local friend who is knitting a Grid Gambit, who is on the petite side as well. And so what she and I figured out together is that she was going to knit hers with sport weight yarn and go down one needle size and just
Yep.
make a slightly smaller version using the same pattern information. So
Yep.
that is like one way to go. And then, as you said, like you can take out that last set of increases and then, corresponding, I think you might have to take out corresponding decreases. What you want to make sure is that the length of each of these um, straight edges is the same so that you have an even piece to seam together. This is the one that I knit for our knit along, and as you can see, I haven't seamed it yet. I've got a little stack of knits that need finishing, and it sits in there for now.
We don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's some beautiful gambits in the works in this Zoom room, and I wonder if anyone would let you in, like, you can do this with your hand too. You don't have to try to do the buttons thing, and I'll call on you if you would like to do a little show and tell. We'd love to see your gambit progress.
I would love to see them.
Priscilla, let's start with you. I'm going to spotlight you. Oh, yeah. I can't hear you yet, but I can see your gambit and it's beautiful. Still can't hear you. I wonder, I think I can ask you to
All right. Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go. Yes.
So mine, I finished it. And I used on the round. I used Rubble and Pebble, which is a sort of a dark charcoal. And I got to tell you, I was really getting kind of nervous as I got close to the end, because show you how much yarn I had left. This is how much I had of the Pebble. And I had quite a bit of this, but I got to tell you, I almost called and ordered more because I was really getting kind of nervous, but it worked out. It worked out fine. So I do have one question. And I don't know whether the designer can answer this or not. It's more of a technical question. When I was doing the mattress stitch on the back, I found it very challenging to do it with the I-cord edging. And it might have been just because my yarn is kind of on the dark side. But I didn't know if she had any tips for doing the mattress stitch with an I-cord edging rather than a regular edging.
So what I would say is, I think that the I-cord edging is actually not worked on the two sides that are going to be seamed together. The I-cord runs down all of the other sides and around the top. But on this first edge, you're just working increases, and on this last edge, you're just working decreases. So it might have, it might have looked a little bit rolled. It might have looked like an I-cord because of the decrease or increase right next to a knit stitch. But I suspect that working the mattress stitch in black or dark yarn is also really tricky. So give yourself some credit just for getting it done, and know that no one else is ever going to see that seam. That is your secret.
Awesome. That'll be the secret for us in the Zoom room and for YouTube. And those colors, I mean, wow. When you sent me that picture in the email, Priscilla, I just love how they look. And I have to also add that there was a knitter who came into the store the other day who was sharing similar concerns of yours, looking for a color of on the round that we didn't have any more of. And so she was like, "Ooh, I'm really nervous about this." And I was like, "Hold on. That was actually my main color." And I kept the tiny little ball in the bottom of my bag. So I just like handed her the ball. I was like, just for insurance sake, you can have this, but I bet you'll have enough. All right, Whitney. Hello, Whitney. How are you? Got your hand up.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, Lila did that for me. I don't know how to do that little hand raise. So this is mine so far. And I absolutely love it. And it's taking over my life because it's all I want to do. And I definitely want to make it a little bit smaller. So Iris, thank you for starting that question for me. So Iris had told me about the possibility of leaving out, so stopping at what is it, row 45 of chart C. But then I was looking and then starting in kind of row 13 on chart D. But I was looking on Ravelry and a bunch of people were commenting that they had stopped at row 32 of chart C. So I don't know if there's a reason to do that, if it matters. I mean, it's going to be a few less stitches. I think if I stop at row 32, it's 110 stitches. If I go on to 44, it's 116. So, but just in terms of things lining up correctly at the end.
Right. So I don't have the pattern in front of me, but I'm wondering if by stopping at is it 32 maybe?
Yeah, that's what the people on Ravelry were saying, that a number of people stopped at the end of row 32 and then started up at the beginning of chart D, but then obviously the stitch numbers don't correlate properly, so.
They don't, but you'll find by that point in the pattern that you're very comfortable like
Yeah.
intuiting like what is next. And then also when you get to the decreases at the beginning of the row, the instructions will be correct. If you leave off 2 repeats, if that's what I'm suspecting, they're saying you leave off here and here. So then when you are working your decreases, you're right here. So you're following the same beginning of row instructions that you would down here.
Right.
So I think that that's definitely a viable solution.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, does it matter because I already went past row 32. So should I go back to it or just stop at 44?
No, just
Doesn't matter.
you will know to do like the knit 3, slip 1, repeat 3 times. Like you will look exactly at where you are and you'll know what to do. And then when you get to the end of the row, you'll just work the decrease for the 2 stitches at the I think it's 2 stitches and then a knit stitch.
Right.
But,
okay. All right.
yeah, definitely viable.
All right. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
And that's also one of the things that is such a strength of this design is the way that a knitter can look and locate where they are, you know, once you're comfortable with the sequencing. And I think people have really found that a pleasure, you know, because then you can sort of relax a little bit. It's not to say that you know might not make a mistake here or there if you're too relaxed, but you can look and go like, oh wow, I do see that it's easier to see those little blips and just know if you're on track at a visual glance. So we love that. Nisi, would you like to show us your beautiful gambit?
Sure. I have a question. There's a in the email it says to send photos of the finished product. What is the address we send the finished pictures to? And
okay,
go ahead.
I was going to say my email address is at the bottom of the emails
Okay.
always. And so you can send them directly to me and I'll compile a nice slideshow of all those beautiful gambits. And they don't have to always be finished. So we do in process too.
Okay. I did finish mine and I ran out just at my I-cord of my purple. And I had another skein, but I didn't really want to open it just to do that much because then if I use that for the next project, I may short myself. So instead of doing my I-cord bind off in the 2 colors, I just did my bind off in 1 color. And there's so much color to it anyway that I didn't think anyone would know the difference.
It's gorgeous. Will you take it off for us so we can see the rest of the oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Am I in the screen?
Yeah, we can see it. It's gorgeous.
It's just Noro. Noro, you can't go wrong with Noro if you want color.
Beautiful. What Noro was it?
I didn't bring my wrapper in here.
Okay. You can email it to me when you send me your picture, maybe.
Yeah, I'll get it. The purple was Malabrigo.
Nice.
And I'll have to look to see what the Noro was.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else feel like sharing? I see Vicky. Hi, Vicky.
Okay, here's mine. I'm still on chart C. have a ways to go still.
Ooh,
Yeah.
love it.
So are you alternating contrast colors from different skeins?
I am, which, you know, you know, so I have lots of weaving in to do. But I have, the background color is vintage DK, and then I had these 3 small skeins of Emma's yarn. Are you familiar with that brand?
I am, yeah, I actually met the owner of the company, Laura, last year in Minnesota. They're just wonderful people.
Yeah, it's a big seller. I'm in Kentucky, and it's in at the shops here. But I had these 3 colors, and I was trying to find something to do with them, and this seemed like the perfect project. But if I made another one, I think I would use a variegated yarn so that I don't have to weave in ends. But you know, it's okay. So, but
It's
anyway,
the perfect activity for like one good Netflix episode of
right.
something. Yes.
Yeah, and
And
it's
maybe
worth
a
it.
glass of wine.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's good. I'm happy with how it's turning out.
And it's nice to be able to use those small skeins. Like it's not always easy to find a project where those can fit in.
Right, I agree. Yeah,
It's beautiful.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Vicky. Beautiful. Pat. Hi, Pat.
This is pretty.
Beautiful.
All I
Beautiful
finished,
with the pink.
and I'm loving it. Let me take it off.
That is beautiful.
So this is with Patagonia, and each of those balls had 382 yards, so I had plenty left over to share with whoever would like to make another one, because I think there's enough in here to make one more.
Beautiful.
The
Yes, I'm
stitches
thrilled.
almost look
I'm in
like a
South
watercolor
Carolina, so
painting.
these are nice beachy colors.
Yeah.
You could actually take the other yarn and make it opposite.
Oh, I could. Yes, I could.
We had someone in the store do that. They used their yarn that was more colorful as their main color, and
Okay,
it was stunning.
I'll have to try that. Thanks.
Beautiful. And that's Kristen, the Cashmere Goat owner,
Yes.
popping in with
Thank you,
that good
Kristen.
idea. Do you
Hi.
have your gambit going right now? Can you show us?
I do.
Great.
It's
I'm
there's
spotlighting.
light behind me, so it's hard to see it. Let's see. There, that's better.
There we go.
It's dark, and it's subtle. It's not as subtle as it looks here, but I am using two yarns, the West Yorkshire Spinners BFL fleece is the green, and then I have another yarn called Lovis, which is a slow color gradient. So it's slowly, ever so slowly changing. I don't know if you guys can see it. And then I'm gonna get to orange as it gets bigger, and then there's even some purple in here, and so it's fun to watch it progress. It's a fun pattern to watch it progress, but I don't have to think too hard.
That's the sweet
Well,
spot.
you got it. Definitely a sweet spot. Anybody else feel like giving us a show and tell? I see Jane C. Hi, Jane.
There we go. Hi. So I did a little stash diving, and I had some hand spun that I had purchased at a yarn festival. And then I also had some alpaca that I'm holding double because it wasn't big enough. And I gotta say, I was a little nervous, and I didn't think I'd like it at first, but I think it's stunning.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's washing out a little bit because of the light, but there's so many different colors in here. So, but what I did think I'd do for the next one is I found 2 color changing yarns that are completely different color groups. And I'm going to try making it in that and see what happens. There should be enough yardage, and just they're completely different. Like one's warm colors, one's cool colors, and I was curious to see how it would work out. It might be cool, it might be something I'd tear out, but I thought it would be fun to try. I love this because
Yeah.
it's so intuitive and it's just something anybody can wear because you just pop it over your head. So I really, really am enjoying it. Thank you for writing the pattern.
Oh, thank you for saying so. I'm really glad to see you enjoy it. Thank you.
It's one of those patterns that somebody said that you go a little slow because at the end of each row, you're, especially if you're using the color changing yarn, you're like, oh, look what just happened. Oh, look.
The same thing happened to me.
Awesome. Let's see, any other
I can do
sharers?
my show and tell if you want.
Okay, great. Hi, Kimberly. Good to see you.
Hi. I just started section C, so I haven't changed much since you saw it last week. So, this is using Malabrego Arroyo. Is that how you say it, Iris?
Yep. Ooh, nice.
So it's alternating a pink and a blue.
Gorgeous.
Pretty.
I love
I
it.
got a ways to go.
It goes fast in chart D, right?
Yeah.
So pretty. Thank you. Well, maybe oh, I see Martha. Martha, you were a little blurry, but I see you now. Getting you spotlighted. Let's see. Ooh, you're muted. Yeah, there we go.
There. I have to be right in the right place because
There
I
you
have it
go.
blurred. Yeah. So I'm on chart C for this one. And and that one is, I think a Jagger spun that's a gray, and then I'm using unique sock yarn and it's slowly changing. Maybe not fast enough for me, but maybe since I might have enough left over to do another one. And then I wanted to start one to use, I've got some, what do you call it, when they start from light to go to dark, of this green and this purple, and using up kind of a stash. It's string theory, mini skeins with a green, and the purple is it's a Malabrigo that has silk in it and a purple sock yarn. So just starting this one, but I've done one color change. It's very subtle, but I have a friend who really loves these colors, so I figured I'd start it for her.
There's so much good contrast there. I love
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I've had I've had to rip some of it out here and there, but oh well. Get distracted these days. So much going on. So anyway, but
I
I'm
also love
enjoying it.
that you dove into the second one even midway through the first.
I
That's
know.
awesome.
Well, sometimes that's a bad thing, but whatever. It does speak to how much I like doing the pattern. It's really fun. It's fun. And not too complicated. So
Well, I see
thank you.
Teresa at, oh, thank you so much for sharing, Martha. I'm seeing Teresa S, and then I think maybe after that, Alice. Hi, Teresa.
So I finished my first one yesterday, trying to figure out the
Ooh.
orientation, waiting to go on the blocking mat, because I've got something else on that right now. And so then, since I finished that, I started my second one yesterday and coming along and try to be on that now.
And is the second one going to be for you? Because I know the first one you said was a gift.
Yes, the first one is the BFL fleece for my father, and this one is soft lino, which is a linen and cotton blend for myself, so that I can wear one.
Love it. Love that soft lino idea. That's a great one.
I was thinking
Oh.
about that soft lino too. Can you hold that up again so I can see?
I'm gonna
It'll be
spotlight
so
you. Hang on.
nice. It'll be so
Yeah.
nice for the
I'm having a lot of fun with this.
late spring.
I've not used this yarn before, but I'm really enjoying it.
It's really nice yarn. I might have to do that.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And great for the people in the warmer climates who don't need the woolly wool, like Teresa. Next up, Alice. Hi, Alice.
Hello, Samantha.
Hi.
So I actually did not bring my first one for show and tell, but I did tag you, Samantha. It was when I still had a cast on my purple cast on my little wrist, but I did want to cast on because I missed my buddies from the goat. And I intuitively did take your suggestion, Samantha, and I had some stash yarn on the round fingering plush that actually was the glow and the oxidize. And so I actually cast on double that and I went down in needle size because I wanted to see a little bit smaller cowl for myself. So, and I'm loving it. So I haven't gotten very far because I've been working on a few other things.
Awesome.
So
Thanks,
cool.
Alice. Sorry, Samantha, were you saying something else as well?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just saying that's such a cool color combination. It's almost low contrast, but not quite. It's just like on the edge and it's really neat.
It feels like the way like forsythia, in full bloom can really just be right out there on that blue, that like bright yellow to green pop. So it's perfect timing.
Yes. Thank you for the pattern. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, I see that it looks like Karen's got a hand up. Hey, Karen.
Hi, everybody. Here's mine. It's turning out quite well. This is for my daughter. She picked out the yarn, and I was telling my knitting friends in Yarmouth that there was too much purple, but she loves it. So that's all that matters. And I also wanted to show how cool the back of this looks. I love the back. So that's really fun that the front and the back are just so interesting. And I also love how everyone, me included, is planning a second one. So I will definitely be doing that as well.
That's
Awesome.
beautiful. You are all enabling me. I feel like I have a set of a trio of yarns downstairs to cast on a fourth one, and now I feel like I should go wind those up.
That's pretty great. Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Let's see yours.
Here's almost done. And this is not intentional, but the sweater I'm wearing is the same color as the winter coat that I made this to go with. So it's a good test, but I'm loving the colors. I cut out a couple of color changes that I didn't care for, but this is on the round cottage DK with Noro. Sayurn, the same one that Rachel's using for her two Noros. I just picked a different colorway. So I'm really thrilled with it. I'm almost done, and I'm a really slow knitter. So that speaks to how much fun the pattern is, because there's enough instant gratification to satisfy my ADHD and keep me going. Because I only have about 7 projects on needles right now.
And I'm really liking this. And I love Alice's colors. That's one of my favorite color combos. I made a cotton cowl last summer with those colors, but not either of you guys is different designer, sorry. But this is so much fun. Thank you for making the pattern.
Thank you.
Thanks for great share. Yeah, that's the Siyun, the Noro Siyun. That was the new one this spring. Let's see, any other hand wavers? I'm looking around. Well, if we want to pause on the sharing for the moment anyway, I wondered, Samantha, do you have any like maybe just anything that you want to share about some of your more recent designs, or maybe designs that might be percolating in your mind at all? We always love to hear, you know, what might be recent and what might be a little teaser for what's to come.
Of course, yeah. So I definitely in February and March I shift into spring and summer planning mode. And so one tee that is off the needles but no ends woven in is not yet named, but I can hold it up to show you. So this is knit in like a light fingering weight, and the vision for this tee was just something super airy and like floaty almost. And so it's knit at like a pretty open gauge. And yeah, this is Fua Fua from Moondrake, and it's a brushed cashmere and merino base, which is just like so delightful. And I'm
Wow.
actually having a second sample knit up in a traditional fingering weight yarn so that we can see like what those look like, because I know that brushed cashmere is not for every climate or every person. So we're going to see how this looks also in a traditional fingering weight yarn. But anyway, yeah, I'm super proud of this. The pattern, it turns out, has been a real challenge to write in the way that I like to lay out my patterns and in the way I like to provide instructions. This pattern just needs a lot more exceptions for different sizes. And so that has been, you know, a real challenge for myself. And thankfully, I have an amazing tech editor who looks over all of my work and just makes sure that it flows. Obviously, it works technically, and that you know, a knitter is going to understand the steps without much, you know, without much effort. You can just follow the instructions. So anyway, this has been a challenge, but I'm super proud of it. And we'll be putting out a test knitting call this weekend. So that tee should be available probably mid-May. And then on my needles right now, which I don't have with me, I am working on a sleeveless tank version of the Steady Session sweater, the V-neck sweater with lace and cables. That was my most recent release. I feel like it was just calling to also be a sleeveless tank. So I'm knitting that up in a linen and wool base, which is like my favorite for the summer. Like wool never really leaves the equation for me, even when it's like it's humid and sticky here in Connecticut sometimes. But I find that as long as I get some linen or some plant fiber into my yarn, I feel great wearing knits year round.
A lot of us in Maine feel the same. One question that I think sometimes we like to hear about is like, so is there any sort of knitting technique or let's say fiber content that is not your favorite? So it'll be fun to hear about what's maybe the non-favorites.
Well, the truth is I don't like purling. So I am always trying to avoid purl rows where possible. That's why you don't see a lot of cardigans in my catalog. And as far as materials, I'd say my hands cannot deal with a 100% plant-based yarn. Mainly cotton. Like cotton is just off the list for me. Cotton added into like a a blend of wool is fantastic. But anything that's like 100% cotton, it just makes my hands hurt. And so I avoid it because knitting should be fun.
So agree with that. Just peeking around the room. Other questions that are popping up for people? Or anyone who hasn't shared yet? Couple of quiet. Oh, I see Wendy. Wendy from New York.
Okay. I have a couple of comments. I love it. My yarn store loves it. They're going to be doing a knit along here in Chatham, New York. And this is mine. I finished and I love it. I have the blue background, and then this was like I think it was Keanu yarn, but it had a very, very long change in the color. So I wound up having to cut it and roll it and move on, or my whole thing would have been orange. So I started here and I realized this is not happening. So it worked out really nice. I love it. It's really pretty. And I'm starting another one. So I love it. Thank you for making this pattern. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so glad that you're enjoying it. It really is a lot of fun. And like the most joyful thing about seeing everyone's projects is hearing about the yarn that they chose, and I don't know, just like either pulling a special skein that you were like, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to use this, or, getting to go to your LYS or shop your favorite dyers online. I think this is just such a great, like, little manageable project where yarns like that can really have a spotlight, and you have so much fun knitting with them.
Well, what's nice about it is there are a couple of new knitters at my yarn store, and I was there today and I brought the pattern and I brought mine being finished, and I was telling them it's really easy, and it's hard to kind of convince a new knitter that this is easy. And I told them, let's just try it. So we're going to start on Saturday. Everybody has to buy their pattern, get their yarn, and we're going to start hopefully on Saturday. So that'll be nice.
You're amazing. They're so lucky to have you.
Well, I had other people too,
Yeah.
I love that. And I will say that I think that the only part that's a little tricky is the startup, because you have to be kind of focused for that. And it's not that it's like difficult things to do, but it's really great when we can have the focus. I definitely, with my first one, had a couple of miss ripbacks, and but you're sort of finding the rhythm. And then once you have the rhythm, once you're past, I don't know, maybe it's the first 12 rows or something. Once you're sort of in there, then you're like, okay, wow, yeah, I'm getting this. And that it just goes really easy from there. It's awesome. Walking around.
It looks like Bev had a question in the chat, and it says she's wondering how long it took Samantha to develop the design and what her process was in doing so.
Oh, sure. So it was actually when I started swatching for this design, it was going to be something else. It was going to be a cowl, but knit in a tube and then twisted and seamed like a Mobius. And then, just that kind of cowl. And I actually pulled my original, pulled my original swatch for it. And I was using some woolen, I think this might even be worsted weight yarn. And anyway, I really was having fun with the stitch pattern, but I wasn't having fun with the yarn, and I didn't like it at this gauge. And so I was just kind of like playing with this on my my kitchen counter, and I looked at it like kind of at an angle, and I thought it kind of reminds me of plaid. Like it kind of looks like it could be a plaid bandana. And so then I got to thinking like that time of year, like November and December, I like to release a pattern that can be knit with either hand spun or a color changing yarn or with minis, because people are getting ready to receive those in the mail. And anyway, I went to my hand spun bin and I took like my most treasured skein, which is all bark, no bite, from Hello Yarn, which is this skein.
Wow.
And I had been saving it for something really special. And I was like, I think that this could be the project. And so after like the first repeat or two, I was locked in. I mean, that was going to be the project for sure. Because I couldn't stop knitting it. So yeah, it was really serendipitous. Like it was going to be a different project, but it ended up telling me what it needed to be. And then the pattern's name came from my friend Kaci Apple. She hosts the Young Folk Knits podcast. She's just such a brilliant wordsmith, and naming patterns is not always my strength. So I reached out to her and I said, this feels like a chessboard and the plaid bandana, and like we just kind of like we were throwing out words and ideas and concepts. And then she said, what about Grid Gambit? And then I ran to Ravelry to make sure that someone didn't already have a Grid Gambit pattern. And then that was that. She's the best. She's named several of my patterns. I have other friends I count on to name patterns for me. That's the one part of the job I can outsource.
I was going to ask you about that because I remember her mentioning it on your podcast or on her podcast. And that was actually, I think, what put it on my radar a little bit too was, and then I was like, ooh, cool. Yeah, her podcast is great.
He's the best.
Anybody else? Bev says thanks. And Dorothy, are you ready for some show and tell? I hope.
Yes. I did not want to do variegated yarn, and this is what I have so far.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Oh, nice.
But I love all your variegated yarns that have come forward, so maybe in the future there might be another
Awesome.
variegated.
You might find just the right color that speaks to you.
That's very likely.
This is definitely one of those patterns that works so well for a variegated. I don't always like variegated yarns like in a sweater form by themselves. And sometimes a yarn will look so pretty in a skein, and then you knit with it and the colors get all mixed up. And this sort of frames them so that you can still appreciate it. And I love finding a pattern that works for that. This is the perfect pattern for someone that wants to buy a skein of yarn for a souvenir when they're traveling or they're at a show. We all have those skeins of yarn that are special to us, and we have one of them, right?
Yes.
This is such a perfect pattern for that. And I truly appreciate that. I hope you make some more that are good for that. It's really a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on my mind because come this November, December, I'm going to want to publish another pattern that works for hand spun, works for minis, works for variegated yarns. So
Yeah.
I'm always keeping an eye out for stitch patterns or motifs or textures that would highlight those things. Because
Yeah.
I'm like you, I feel like I love a variegated or color changing yarn in a very specific application. And I feel like this is that kind of application where they really do get to shine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Samantha,
And it's so fun.
Whitney has a question. Oh, sorry. Were you gonna? Did you have more?
Nope, I'm done.
No. Whitney asked a question in the chat about if you had any other plans to use the awesome grid in another pattern.
Oh boy, that is a good question. And at the moment, I don't. So you might have noticed when my pattern came out that there were other designers using the motif. And so I almost kind of feel like maybe the market is saturated with this motif. There's a designer, her name is Alex, and I wish I could think of her Instagram name, but she designed a vest and I believe a pullover and maybe one other garment with this motif. And I reached out to her because I said, I'm so blown away with your ability to grade and keep this motif moving throughout the adjustments that need to happen in body shaping. Like, this is so impressive. I don't think I could ever. And then Andrea Mowry has her beautiful sweater that has this motif. So I almost kind of feel like I need to find the next version of this for myself to kind of keep that creative energy going. That I don't want to feel like I'm riffing off of an idea that's already really out there in the world.
Totally fair. I think I did see maybe that other designer, Alex. I think I saw that vest.
She is very talented. I mean, I told her I have to give it up to you. Like that is super impressive, because to keep a motif like this worked into those number changes is challenging.
Yeah.
Daisy entered the chat.
Nice.
Not sure what she wants. Probably dinner.
I will say that if anybody really enjoyed working the mosaic in Grid Gambit and they were looking for a different but similar kind of feeling pattern, the Moon Tower shawl is written in 2 sizes, and that's a fingering weight shawl, which you could easily knit in sport weight or DK weight, depending on how you wanted your finished shawl to be. But that is also another pattern that's great for hand spun, color shifting yarn, gradients, things like that. So the Moon Tower shawl is a lot of fun to knit.
That's one of your designs?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great.
Awesome.
Well, I will definitely put that in our notes for the video.
Yeah, I'm
Thanks for
excited
that
to look at that one.
recommendation.
Thank you. And it's
Thanks
written
for
for
that.
2 sizes. So it's written for a smaller, like kerchief size, and then a more generous triangle.
Wow, we are pretty much up at the top of the hour here already. We like to call this Zoom the fastest hour of the week. That was Bev who coined that little phrase for us. But it's amazing that so many of you hopped on to join us tonight. And huge thank you, Samantha, for taking time with us. It's amazing to have a designer and be able to kind of pick your brain, ask you questions, and show our work, because we're really proud of it and happy with your pattern.
Well, this is just the best. Thank you all so much. Thank you for knitting it and then for sharing the joy that it brought you and having fun. I just love it so much. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank everybody, and thanks for being here along with us for our knit along. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.